We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
We're doing all right, Jared. It's been a hot minute since we've done one of these. How are you doing?
It always feels real weird. It always feels really, really weird when we take a week off. And we seriously only took 1 week off.
But it's been 2 weeks since we've done one.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about it. Felt like
Yep.
two. Because it is Spikes. Because it is.
Yes.
All right, Kyle, we're going to do something we haven't done. It's February 20th, the day this is getting released. It's the 19th for us. We're releasing it on the 20th. That's how podcasting works. We have yet, this is our first SloopHoops episode of the entire season.
And there's probably a good reason why, Jared, right?
It just, that may be it. This might be it. This might be it. It just hasn't been. I mean, listen, the numbers don't lie. Like whenever, so straight up, I could open up my Spreaker account, my YouTube account. I could show you all the statistics from last season. Whenever you talk about basketball numbers, the numbers just take a big old dookie. So, thank you for the half of the audience who's actually participating in this, because most of you just aren't even here. But for those of you who are, hi. So, even when the basketball team is good, or at least when the basketball team is entertaining, even then we aren't super motivated to talk about basketball. But man, this team has not been anywhere close to good or entertaining this year. Hence the first SloopHoops of the first SloopHoops episode of the season being delivered on February 20th.
Yeah, it's been a very tough 2023 for the Buckeyes basketball team here, losing 8 straight after their big loss to Purdue. They lost by 27 points.
And Holtmann blamed the ref. He didn't blame the refs. He didn't like say we lost
Eight
because of the refs.
Eight in a row.
But he did criticize the refs. Like don't credit Holtmann.
Yeah.
Holtmann.
Well,
Don't criticize the refs after losing by 27 points.
yeah,
That's not a good look.
8 in a row here, Jared. But
11 of the last 12.
13 of the last 14.
Oh, okay. You're better at math than me. Yeah, it's been bad. They've won twice this calendar year. They've won 3 games in the Big Ten this year. This is the worst Ohio State basketball team we have seen in a very long time.
Very, very long time. Yeah, I don't remember when the last time we saw a
How
really
the hell did we win
depleted
3?
team.
I have one word for that, Rutgers. I have 2 additional words for that, Northwestern, which is actually 1 word, but screw them, it's 2.
Yeah, so their 3 wins is Iowa.
I don't know how we beat Iowa.
Iowa, Northwestern, and Rutgers. They got on a hot streak. That's what happened. I mean, they scored 93 points, which is the only time they scored more than 75 all year.
Who?
2023 year, that is.
Yeah. Not counting the Robert Morrises of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We should have known. Like this is what happens with Ohio State basketball team. I feel like we always get like one out of conference game early on that makes us feel really good. That was Ohio State, not just beating, but demolishing Cincinnati, back in November.
Yeah. And it's so weird because like at the beginning of the year, it's like, okay, all right, you played some good teams, over in Maui. You came up close against San Diego State, who was a good team. You You trounced Cincinnati. You beat Texas Tech, who at the time was seemed like a pretty good team, a good ranked team. You put up a good fight at Duke. You beat Rutgers in a close one. You almost came away with a win against North Carolina. Then going into 2023, like, okay, this is a pretty good team. Maybe they can make a splash into the NCAA tournament, and then the field goal missed, Jared, and it just seems like the basketball team just hasn't recovered since the football team lost.
Wow. You're seriously gonna blame this on Noah Ruggles? That's not very Sloopcast of you, Kyle.
I'm not.
I know.
I love Noah Ruggles.
I know, I do too.
True Buckeye. But yeah, it's
the officials
like you look at this team and you see some good players here, and I'm looking at Senzenball here. Yeah, it's just ensuing. They got some good they got some good players here. They just aren't molding. They're just not molding well, and a lot of that is that they only had one returning player from last year's squad here. Like it really shows here. It really does show. So, but you look at other teams too, and again, Ohio State isn't the Dukes. They're not the Kentuckys of the world too, but why couldn't they be? Why couldn't they be?
Yeah, and
those teams are able to just plug and play players, pull in freshmen, pull in people from the for the transfer portal, and be able to plug and play there. What's so different this year about Ohio State, other than only one player was back from last year, and that's it.
But better teams deal with that all the time, and like why isn't Ohio State one of the better teams? I think is a question. Ohio State basketball isn't Ohio State football. We can say that. Only one national title in the history of Ohio State basketball. It's been 60 years since Ohio State won a national title. Like, no, but we typically aren't burning trash can. Yes, no, 100% agree on that. 100% agree on that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Ohio State basketball is or has ever been Ohio State football. It's not. That's fine. But this is very bad. And I don't think it's, I think it is time. It is past time where we start talking about Holtmann's job. And the one argument I'd be willing to hear right now, as far as like pro Holtmann, is that like he has a really good recruiting class on the floor right now, and he has an excuse to play the freshmen. You know, is he doing that enough? Different conversation, different day. But the one argument I'll hear right now pro Holtmann is he has this good recruiting class. He has an excuse to play him. He has a choose to give a chance to give them experience and see what he can do with these guys in their second year next year. And they have, at least so far, a pretty decent recruiting class lined up in the 2023 recruiting class as well. So you get those group of freshmen in here with those sophomores. Maybe Ohio State can make a run next year. And if you want to make a pro Holtmann, give him one more year argument, that's the argument. That's the only argument I'm willing to hear.
Yeah, at this point, like at the beginning of the year, during the season, and even when Ohio State's starting to lose more and more games here, I still had Holtmann's back. I was like, I believe in Holtmann, believe what he's doing. I believe that Ohio State basketball is in good hands with Holtmann here, but man, these last few games here, they're just not in it. They're just not in it to be able to win the games. I mean, look at the past games here. I mentioned that they lost to Purdue by 27 points. They lost to Iowa by 17, 21. You only put up 41 points.
Yeah.
Against Michigan State at home.
Yeah.
You lose Northwestern, which you at home should have won that game.
Yeah.
Should have beaten Michigan. Should have beaten Wisconsin. It's just they find ways to lose, and sometimes and recently lose big here, and it's unacceptable right now. It really is, and a lot of it too. You look at the way that they're playing ball, the way that they're playing all of their plays there. I just don't think the way that he's coaching this team, it's working for them this year. It's a lot of
or working for them. Period. If we're being honest.
Yeah, it's a lot of setting screens to get your one-on-one matchups, and then hopefully you get a good shot up. That's really what I see here. And then you take away Zed Key this weekend here, and they're just not in the game at all. Not in it at all.
Yeah, it's we need to take a serious look at Holtmann's record. This is now his 6th season at Ohio State. And Holtmann bashing? I mean, I wouldn't say bashing, but I'm also not going to pull any punches. 6 seasons at Ohio State. In 6 seasons, sure you meant fire. Sure, Zach, you meant fire. 6 seasons at Ohio State. No Big Ten titles. Has yet to surpass 30 wins in a season. Has yet to make it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. In 6 seasons. And you can say, well, one of those postseasons was canceled due to COVID. Okay. That's true. But, you know, they had a stacked team. At least it appeared to be a stacked team ready for the tournament in the 21-22 season and got bounced in the first game. They have yet to make it to the second location of the NCAA tournament. It's not acceptable in 6 seasons. And I'm saying 6 seasons because they're obviously not going to the tournament this year. Mm-hmm. So we can go ahead and just count this season as a bust as well.
Yeah, it's just tough because Holtmann's just a great person, but I mean,
cool.
It's a job.
I'm a great person.
It's a job, and if you're not doing good at your job, you got to be let go.
Yeah, I'm a great person too. It doesn't mean I'm a good basketball coach. Jared should not coach the team. Yeah, exactly. It's this isn't about being a good person. That's not what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, jump back into your memory banks for me. Actually, hold on. Before I go there, I mentioned 6 seasons at Ohio State. Holtmann, no 30-win seasons, no Big Ten titles, no Sweet 16s, nothing beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, over a much larger, I acknowledge this, much larger number of seasons, 13 seasons, I believe, of Thad Matta. 3 times Ohio State exceeded 30 wins under Thad Matta. 9 Big Ten titles, 5 Sweet 16 appearances, 3 Elite Eights, 2 Final Fours, and an NCAA runners-up. Can't join tonight. Just wanted to add that I canceled cable to avoid even accidentally seeing the team play. Oh, that's funny.
But that's crazy. Well, I guess that Big Ten titles can be a little misleading because you could technically have two Big Ten titles in one season. Yes, which he's done that.
But at that same time,
maybe twice.
At the same time, Kyle, does that not mean that Holtmann has had 6 times 2 opportunities to win the Big Ten title and has not done it?
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Does Thad want to come back? Yeah, he's not doing too well over at Butler. Yeah, that's right, Chop Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Holtmann's first season, Mata's first season didn't really go anywhere. Second season, marked improvement, wins the Big Ten. Doesn't go deep into the tournament. Third season at Ohio State, goes 15-1 in the Big Ten, only loses 4 games all season, and goes to the national title game. At his third season at Ohio State. That's what Thad Matta did in 3 years. His 4th year, he won it all. And by all, I meant the NIT tournament. Listen, they had a bunch of early guys, and they all went pro after the national title game.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta. I vote fire Gene. Nah. No, I don't think so. Kyle, do you remember? If you jump back in your memory banks, do you remember why Ohio State parted with Thad Matta?
It claimed it was related to health issues, but
sure.
But yeah, there was just a lot of just
negative recruiting,
which we heard that a lot with certain coaches on the football team. But yeah, a lot of negative recruiting against that, health issues, and it seemed there was just some dispute inside the locker room too, I believe.
But a lot of it had to do with Thad Matta not being able, his health, Thad Matta's, health issues, and how that was affecting him on the recruiting trail. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ohio State all of a sudden wasn't getting like big recruiting classes anymore. And we don't have recruiting data because the basketball recruiting data does not go back that far as like team rankings goes. Earliest team rankings I could find were 2011 on the 24/7 sports sites. But in 2011, the 6th overall recruiting class, 2013 the 39th, 2014 the 6th, 2015 the 5th highest recruiting classes. And then you saw a pretty sharp drop with the recruiting classes in 2016, 17, and 18. He goes 42nd, 24th, and 27th. And so, you're going from like top 10 recruiting classes falling outside the top 20 3 straight years.
Yeah.
And you had Thad Matta's worst season as the head coach in his last year in 2016-17. So it's time to make a change.
Which honestly may be better than this year's Holtmann's team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What are they? They're currently 11-16. So yeah, it would be more losses more losses than any team Thad's had too. And even if
already
they
more losses
win
in the
even
Big
if
Ten.
they win out for that's 15 wins there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's this season that Ohio State's currently putting up is worse than the season that got Thad Matta fired. And Thad Matta had a lot more juice positive juice he had created for himself. But again, one of the reasons why you moved on from Thad Matta was issues on the recruiting trail. Now, Holtmann had a hand in the 2018 class as well. That's sort of a shared class. So, 27th. 2019, 14th. Okay, we're back inside the top 20. 2020, 47th recruiting class. 2021, 49th recruiting class. Now, he does come back strong last year with an 8th ranked recruiting class. So back in the top 10, which again, if we're talking about reasons to give Holtmann another shot, it could be the fact that he just brought in a top 10 recruiting class last season. And as of now, recruiting class still has time to go. It's still an active recruiting class, but as of now, the 2013 recruiting class is 6th in the country. Bronny James is still out there. I'm just saying, that's the one and only argument to be made here, in my opinion. But again, if we look at the recruiting classes, we don't have team rankings going back all that far. We do, however, have individual rankings going back all that far. Kyle, according to 24/7 Sports, I collected the top 20 recruits in Ohio State basketball history.
Okay.
Top 20.
All right.
Of these top 20, how many were brought in by Holtmann? I have those highlighted for you if you check the show notes.
By Holtmann in the top 20?
Yeah. It is 6.
Without even looking, I was going to say like 2 or 3.
So it's 6.
Oh, okay. More than I thought. Okay.
However, there's a however here.
All right.
DJ Carton never really even played for Ohio State.
Yep.
Chapman is in the current recruiting class.
Mm-hmm.
Malachi Brenham. Okay. We have Mobley, who's in the 2024 recruiting class, so he's not even enrolled yet. Scotty Middleton in the 2023 recruiting class. And EJ Liddell. So, realistically speaking, we're talking about guys who actually contributed at Ohio State. It's like 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, if you look at Holtmann, Greg Oden, BJ Mullins, Jared Sullinger, Daquan Cook, William Buford, D'Angelo Russell, Deshaun Thomas, Mike Conley, Bates Diop, David Leidy. Was Leidy Holtmann? No, Leidy was not Mata, was he? Yeah. No, he was.
Yeah, he was Mata, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was his first recruiting class. Anyway, you see my point. Yes, I meant that. But you see my point, right? We've not seen Holtmann bring in amazing stud talent at any point. At no point so far.
Mm-hmm.
again, we can talk about the recruiting classes that are coming, talk about the recruiting class that just came in, but he's been here for 6 years. So you're talking about guys who've actually come in and contributed. The best you got here is E.J. Liddell and Malachi Brenham. Those are the two. Those are the two guys you can hang your hat on out of the Holtmann recruiting classes. There's been a ton of great role players, a ton of players who I loved watching, who I really like. But if we're talking about recruiting stars, Holtmann's never brought them in.
Nope.
And even the guys who are coming in, who I mentioned already, who are in this top 20, none of them are cracking the top 10. In you know what I mean? Like, there's not an Odin, a Cook, a D'Angelo Russell coming in, looking strictly at the recruiting stars. There's just not one here. I don't know what Holtmann has done to earn a 7th year. So whom should we go after to replace Holtmann? Here's my question.
It's kind of like the football part too. It's like unless somebody decides to leave an organization, then you grab them right away. You got to find someone who's up and coming, who's young and has a lot of upside to them. And I don't really know too much about the coaches in the basketball world though. So I couldn't tell you, Jared. I couldn't tell you.
No, and I'm not nearly as well versed in college basketball as I am college football. So I'm not going to sit here and rattle off like 5 to 10 names like I probably could do if you asked me that same question in regards to football. I know one of the names I've seen thrown around a lot is the Charleston head coach, Pat Keasley. I've seen that name tossed around a decent amount. I'm not going to pretend like I know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I'm not going to pretend to know nearly as much about college basketball as I do college football. I do not dedicate near the amount of time to watching. Like, I will watch literally any two teams play college football on a random Saturday night. I will. I'll watch Hawaii play Boise. I'll do it. But I don't know. I don't know the basketball stuff nearly that deep. But here's my question to you, Zach. Given what we've talked about with Holtmann and his track record at Ohio State, his recruiting, his on the court, all of it, would you hire him? Forget who do you get to replace him. The question I ask you, would you hire him? Or are you keeping him just because you already have him? If you wouldn't be willing to hire him, why would you keep him? That's my question. You're Ohio State. And again, Ohio State football or Ohio State basketball is not Ohio State football. I understand that. It's not a prestige job. Ohio State football could go steal a coach from nearly any school in the country. They could. Ohio State football could do that. There's a very small select list of schools that Ohio State couldn't just go in and steal the head coach from. Ohio State basketball does not nearly have that sort of luxury or that sort of prestige.
No.
But they do have money. What they have is money.
I mean, look at Look at Alabama. Look at Alabama this year in basketball. Like, yes, Alabama has a good basketball team for like the first time in seems like forever.
Yeah. Would have fired Holtmann a month ago. I don't see the value in firing him mid-season. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't know what that achieves, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion on that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're getting a new hire now. Yeah, exactly. The only way you do something like that is if you know it's going to help you get to the next guy.
Yeah.
If there's someone out there looking for a job and you absolutely want them and you want to go out there and you want to get that person without doing it with your coach still being around, then okay. But how do you feel about Chris Collins asking for Cousin Jay? I don't have, again, I'm not that incredibly well. I'm not gonna sit here and have a strong opinion on basketball coaches because I don't know. I just don't. Like, does he win games? Could he win games here? Then bring him in. Like, I'm not gonna break down the X's and the O's of it. I don't know. To me, go get me someone who can recruit and someone who can teach the team not to turn the damn ball over constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's been a staple of literally every Holtmann team. They don't finish and they turn the ball over. So shouldn't those be two things? Shouldn't those two things be the hallmark of good coaching? Not turning the ball over?
And it seems this year you add on what's wrong with the team this year too, is that they can't play any damn defense. The defense has just been horrendous as well too, and at least that was something that had Ohio State going for them in previous years, but this year it's nothing. Like they have like nothing going for them.
Yeah,
like you can look at the statistics here, and I can't really tell you like what they have good going for them. They have like nothing going for them. They can't cause turnovers. They're like almost dead last in steals per game. They turn the ball over a lot. They're not good at 3-point shooting. They're not good at 2-point shooting. I don't see anything going for this year for this team.
Yeah. Turning the ball over 11.2 times per game, which isn't horrendous. It's not good. It's not good. But Kyle's talking about defense. They only create 11.1, which ranks them 295th in the country.
Which, for those that do not know, there are about 350 teams. So the bottom sixth, almost bottom sixth.
Yeah, Kyle, if you're looking for something to hang your hat on here, they are in the top 50 of offensive rebounds.
And it's because of one guy there. And then when he's not in, they lose by almost 30 points.
You're also getting a lot of offensive rebounds because you're missing a lot of shots, probably.
Yeah.
And if we look at their field goal percentage, they're 131st in the country. Stopping in to say Jared is... Huh? I don't even know what that means. Yeah, there's nothing here. Field goal percentage, they're sitting at 36%. 2-point percentage, they're at 50%. Like, every 2-point attempt, only half of them go in. That's including layups. That's including, there's literally nothing happening. There's just nothing happening with this team.
All right, so I guess final verdict then, Jared, here. If you're Gene Smith, after the Big Ten tournament's over, say Ohio State, it's just silly for me to even think that they lose their opening game in the Big Ten tourney here.
Yeah. They're gonna have a terrible seed. They're gonna play somebody good.
You're Gene Smith.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily, because they would play so.
Oh, that's
because
right.
Because of how the Big Ten does it,
that's right.
They have a chance to win their first one, because they also would play one of the bottom 4 teams in the Big Ten, but then they would play one of the top 4 teams then after that.
Okay, so let me think about this for a second. Who can Ohio State actually beat in the Big Ten?
Rutgers, apparently.
Because they beat Northwestern, but then lost to Northwestern. They beat Iowa, but then lost to Iowa.
Rutgers,
now they did beat
Rutgers.
The answer is Rutgers. But that Rutgers game was before the slide. That was 2022 Ohio State basketball.
This is true. Minnesota. But then they lost to Minnesota, which that's Minnesota's only conference victory.
Jesus Christ. All right, Kyle, I want you to say that again for everyone listening.
I don't, because that hurt really bad for me to say.
I'm just saying, if we're putting together a list of pros and cons for do you keep or do you hand over Holtmann, like.
So if the standings are right now, Jared, if the standings are right now,
yeah,
it would be Ohio State versus Nebraska.
Okay. So Ohio State played Nebraska yet this year?
They have.
Let's see. And Nebraska lost 63-60 in Lincoln. Is that the only Nebraska game?
So what Z Spike says. So you're telling me there's a chance.
I mean, there's a chance. I do kind of look like Elmo. What the hell does that even mean? And y'all are saying this, and you don't even realize we have an Elmo emote in Discord.
But then they would play if they would win, they would play the number 5 seed. Again, this is if it ends right now, and they would play the number 5 seed, which is Iowa.
Who we beat?
Yeah. All right. Backtracking. Even let's just say they win one game.
Yeah.
If they won or no games, you're Gene Smith, Jared. What's your decision on Coach Holtmann right now?
It's time to move on. Thanks for the recruiting class. Thanks for that recruiting class and this recruiting class. Thanks for setting the next guy up. Here's your papers. Jared, he just signed a contract. I don't care. You're Ohio State. You have money. I don't care.
What is the only way, or what's a way or different ways that Holtmann is able to stay at Ohio State?
Well, there's just the money. He just signed a contract extension. And again, Ohio State basketball is not Ohio State football. Maybe they just aren't willing to pay him out. Okay, screw it. Like, you say he had a really good recruiting class here. He has a really good recruiting class coming in. It's basketball. We really don't want to pay the money to pay him out. So you just let him stick around for a year because fuck it. Like, that's the case. Again, that's the case to keep Holtmann. And that doesn't feel like a case that should make you feel good about yourself.
What if he's able to get
I don't care.
LeBron James Jr. in? That would probably move Ohio State up to close to fourth, maybe third recruiting class.
I mean, I get that he's LeBron James's kid, but he wouldn't even be the best kid in Ohio State's recruiting class. And I understand that there's other value there.
In that class, according to the 24/7 composite, he would be the best Ohio State recruit in that class.
I understand what the composite says. My point is this. It doesn't matter. Holtmann is John Cooper in basketball. I think that's a compliment that Holtmann doesn't deserve.
Yeah. Cooper had good recruiting classes and actually won a bunch of games.
Yeah. Bryce better than Bronny. This is true. The younger LeBron is the better LeBron. But there are other. You bring in LeBron James's kid, all of a sudden LeBron James is going to be around the program, which will help. That starts a snowball of improving your recruiting classes. There is value beyond what Bronny James can bring for you on the court if you bring him in. And if you're LeBron James, not Junior, if you're LeBron James, you call up Gene Smith because you have his number. You do. You call up Gene Smith and you say, hey, is Holtmann coming back or not? And then if I'm Gene Smith, my answer is, what do you think, Mr. LeBron James, sir? LeBron destroys. That's not even true. He's literally won championships at 2 different locations. How is that destroying teams?
At 3 locations, Jared.
Championships?
Yeah.
No. He's not won a championship in LA.
I'm pretty sure he did, Jared. That was the COVID year.
Does that count?
It technically counts, Jared. It technically does.
I'm getting a lot of no's in the chat. I got an asterisk, then I got
if you pull
no's.
Up NBA championships, you'll see, just like Bama's title. If you have
okay, you know what? You say just like Bama's title, but you know goddamn well if we won that, we'd have hung the banner and we'd all have merchandise. All right, now if we won, that's a different story. Exactly.
How many championships has LeBron
Kevin Love
James
does deserve
won?
respect.
4.
That's besides the point. Last I looked, Kevin Love didn't win it in Minnesota and Cleveland. Sorry. Is that where he was, Minnesota? I don't even remember. Yeah, so my response to LeBron James to LeBron James, if I'm Gene Smith, it's like, what do you think, sir? What coach can I get for you to get your son to sign today? I'm a K-Love fan. Yeah, I am too. I love Kevin Love. I don't know how that's relevant to the LeBron James discussion. Because LeBron won one with Kevin Love. Kevin Love never won one without LeBron. It's not relevant to the conversation. What the hell am I even talking about right now, Kyle? Why am I talking about Kevin Love? point here is I get LeBron James to be the coach. I know that's not going to happen, but imagine if it did. He wants to play in the league with his son, and that's adorable. But LeBron James, what if I offer you the opportunity to coach both of your sons at Ohio State? Am I kidding right now? Yes. If I thought it was realistic, would I do it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're saying that's the only way, if you were in Gene Smith's shoes,
yeah,
that Holtmann would stay, is if LeBron James says Holtmann should be the coach.
If Holtmann stays, Bronny's going to sign. I say, sir, yes, sir, and I re-sign Holtmann, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it pains me to say because, yeah, Holtmann does need to go. It does. It pains me to say that, but the team deserves better. The program deserves better. Buckeye Nation deserves better. It's time to move on. It is time, Z Spikes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's just the thing. 6 years, no Sweet 16s. And you can say 5 years. You can remove the COVID year if you want to and say 5 years. Okay. But you can't get out of the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. That's not acceptable. And I'm done. I'm done. I don't know how else to say it. You're Ohio State. If you want to make it happen, you can. What is it? It's buying out the current contract, which I understand would be a lot of money. And just go getting the best guy who's up for grabs right now. Which is most guys. You can outpay. Kyle just said there's 350 schools in Division I basketball. You could go get what, Kyle? Of those 350, you get your pick of what, 300 of them? 250 of them?
Yep.
You can outpay those schools. And just say, come play here. Or come coach here. Done. Over. I don't know. I'm just saying you wouldn't, if you were Ohio State, you wouldn't hire Holtmann right now. That's the bottom line.
Yep.
All right, Kyle. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
Anything in Kyle's corner? Man, I wish there was some. I wish that there was good things we could talk about the basketball team here. Not much in football land either. But somebody mentioned here, I do want to mention it here. The outdoor hockey game with Ohio State and Michigan up in Cleveland there. I thought that was kind of cool, but also color on color.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
Make it happen in football. Make it happen in football.
Kyle, I got a question for you. Did you like not last week, we didn't record one last week, damn Super Bowl. Week before last, when we got a lot of engagement out of the uniform.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun episode to do.
You want to do something similar next week? Instead of talking about basketball ever again?
Well, we may talk about it. We may talk about it when a certain event happens, but
certain event.
Sure.
What?
Well, we just talked about it, damn it, Jared.
You know I have the memory of a goldfish, right?
So what would this be, this interaction, conversation be, Jared?
It's something similar. I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, we got a lot of engagement out of that. We should probably do another episode like it. Not the exact same episode, obviously, but something like it.
Yeah. And before anybody says anything about the hat I'm wearing, no, it is not the university.
It doesn't look like the university for what it's not. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like a Georgia hat.
There. I'll wear this backwards. There. Now you don't see the bulldog there. So okay.
It's a different. If it's a different G bulldog.
Yes.
Got
to support. Got to support. High school athletics.
There you go. Okay, Kyle. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Everyone come hang out in the Discord server. We have a lot of fun. It's we talked a lot about soup this week. Soup. Because what else are we going to do? Talk about basketball? We make fun of Jared. Yeah, they do that a lot. They called me Elmo today for some reason. I still don't understand that one. Good recipes to be had. We do not do soups. We do not do recipes for soups. God damn it.
Oh, I got something in Kyle's corner actually, Jared. Your thoughts, Jared, on Tears of the Kingdom coming out?
Ooh, Zelda talk? We haven't done Zelda talk at the top of the show for a long time.
Not since Breath of the Wild came out. Remember we did that? It seemed like hey, Kyle, tell us a little bit about the last week that you played it.
We were doing Breath of the Wild updates for a while there. Because sometimes you got to do shit in the off season. What the absolute hell? I'm gonna go ahead. We're deleting that one.
Please, thank you.
We're deleting that one. I don't know, man. What I really didn't appreciate about that one is that it had someone's Patreon in the top left of it. And that was the line, like it was almost worth deleting. It was worth deleting, don't get me wrong. But then like that was a step too far for me. Like someone was proud of that and wanted money for it. Oh, sorry, podcast people. You have no idea what we're talking about.
Probably a good thing.
Oh, it is a good thing. It looks fun. It looks like it's just going to be Breath of the Wild 2, and that's exactly what I want it to be. I want it to be Breath of the Wild with add-ons, with a bigger map of more places to go. But it looks to be the core mechanics of the game look to be the same. It looks to be a very similar, if not the same map, but expanded, which some people are mad about. I'm all for it. It's a great map. Reuse it, build upon it. All for that. The textures and everything look to be upgraded in the game. It's probably about as good as the Switch can do at this point. They'll do everything they can to optimize the ever-living hell out of the underpowered Switch. And I'm looking forward to it.
All right. That's it, Jared. That's all I got.
All right. Tonight's ending music is a Cleveland-based artist. Her name is Madison Pruitt. And we're going to play a song by Madison here at the end of the show. So with all that being said, Kyle, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Madison Pruitt.